Hey, I'm pleased to be here with Victor Boutros, the founder of Human Trafficking Institute. Thank you for taking a few minutes this afternoon, Victor, and chatting with me.
Great to be with you, Frank.
Yeah, let's start off and let me just ask a kind of an obvious question, which is, how you got started in this whole arena. What triggered this for you, the passion?
It's a great question. I started traveling in the developing world with a group of students in my intervarsity group at Harvard back when I was in school. And when I started traveling, that was my first exposure to learning about some of the abuses and injustices in the world. And for me, one of the most arresting was learning about a case involving a 12-year-old girl in India who's from a very poor family, got sent to the big city to get a job where she could earn money from her family. Found a job washing dishes in the back of a restaurant. And at the end of the summer, she's getting ready to head back home to her family. But to do that, she's got to catch a train from Victoria Station in Mumbai, one of the most crowded and busiest train stations in the world. And she is having trouble finding her train. She's feeling quite overwhelmed. And a couple of older women approach her, offer to help her find her train. She's very relieved that they're looking out for her. And they get on the train, they start chatting, have some tea. It turns out the tea is drugged. And so she's knocked out cold. And when she wakes up, she finds herself on the third floor of a brothel in the red light district of Mumbai, where these two women have sold her for the equivalent of 250 American dollars. And from that point forward, she's told she has to service the brothel's customers 7 to 12 men a day, 7 days a week. And meanwhile, her parents are at the rural train station, have no idea where she is or even how to start looking for her. And as I learned about her story, it just, it made my blood boil. How do you do that to a 12-year-old? This is not someone who's making some kind of economic decision to make money through commercial sex. This is a 12-year-old who's trying to get home to her family. And as I learned about her story, I discovered that there were many others who were experiencing similar kinds of abuse, and that it really was this horrific practice of human trafficking that was taking place across the globe and at scale. And for whatever reason, that just grabbed a hold of my heart and changed the course of my life. And so by that point, I was in a graduate program at Oxford and really left early to go to law school with the vision of being equipped with some professional gifts that I thought I would need to be effective in this space. And that journey eventually took me from the private sector to the Justice Department, where I was part of the Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit and spent almost a decade traveling around the country and working with federal agents and working cases across the U.S. And that was a big eye opener for me on how these cases all work, and a front row seat to how traffickers think and behave.
That right there is quite a story. And it's remarkable to see what Human Trafficking Institute has accomplished over the years. My impression is that they're kind of different, niches within the whole arena of dealing with this, with this global scourge. How would you define HTI's niche?
Yeah, so I'd say if you look at sort of where does the funding kind of go in the anti-trafficking space, I would say it mostly goes into a couple buckets. One is trying to reduce the vulnerability of potential victims, people who are not yet trafficked, but who are at risk of being trafficked. So that would include things like awareness campaigns or poverty alleviation efforts or education efforts, all of which are quite important. Or another big pile goes to caring for survivors. These are people who were trafficked but aren't anymore. And so that would include things like trauma therapy and shelters and survivor services and vocational training and support for survivors, also critically important. What we do at HTI is we try to deliver an upstream solution that tries to answer the question, okay, not just how do we care for victims after the fact, but could we move upstream and stop the trafficker from making that decision to use force and threats and violence? Because then not only do we free their current victims, but you spare that future stream of victims from ever enduring that trauma in the first place. So we are an enforcement focused organization. Our core belief is that we really can't stop trafficking without stopping traffickers. If we're not fundamentally reducing the number of traffickers, we're probably not meaningfully reducing the number of trafficking victims. And the way that you actually reduce the number of traffickers is by changing the incentive to engage in the crime in the first place. And the best way to do that is through effective enforcement. Once traffickers realize there are specialized enforcement teams that could come in and seize all my profits and I lose all my money and my business and my family, my freedom, go to jail, then the cost of engaging in the crime becomes too great. And that's when you start to see traffickers bailing at scale.
As we've talked about our work and really kind of an emerging partnership,
Yes.
again, for BEB, the focus is on, capturing data on children living in institutions. And I know data is a critical component of the work you all do. Can you talk about just how you see the partnership, how you anticipate the partnership working going forward?
Yeah, I'm very excited about this because we are trying to always figure out are there better ways that we can identify trafficking cases and go after them more efficiently, more effectively. And so to be able to sort of map on BEB's data to the data that we're seeing and start to identify, hey, are there some consistent red flags? Are there flags that we're seeing in the data that tend to indicate that there is trafficking taking place, that would allow us to begin to identify new trafficking cases that maybe we would not have known about otherwise. But because we've done this analysis, we can start to identify these red flags and go and find more trafficking cases. That's very exciting to me. And those patterns might not just exist in Uganda. They may be patterns that we would see in other projects that BEB is working in or that HTI is working in. And that's very exciting to me because I think I was just on a call this morning with a large funder who is looking at some of the global space, and they've said, wow, we just really are hungry for evidence-based approaches that are using data in innovative ways to be more and more effective. And that's one that I'm excited about. And Uganda is a really special place to do it because I think BEB has had a really incredibly positive experience there. It has amassed maybe more data there than in any other project that BEB has together. And the same is true of our work. And so to be able to take those larger data sets, map them onto each other and see what can we learn from this and how can we become more and more effective at serving and protecting children would just be a wonderful use of data analysts need great ways to serve their communities, and this feels like it could be an amazing one. So we're very excited about that.
I think another analogy with our two organizations is just the admiration for the work of the people on the ground.
For
When you
sure.
tell the story of Joseph and when we see our teams going out in the field and, marching through the rainy season to get to the children's homes. And it's just very, very, very inspiring. I know you all are starting to take a look, maybe more than a look, at Kenya. And you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, it is more than a look now. It's actually official. We signed a partnership agreement with the government of Kenya to launch HTI Kenya, and we're very, very excited. Kenya's been very high on our draft board now for quite a bit of time, and we've had just an incredible experience with the Attorney General of Kenya and his senior staff. And we're super excited to engage in this partnership. Our hope and prayer is that what we see in Kenya, something similar to what we've seen in Uganda, and that could Kenya to have like a mutually reinforcing two like great leaders in East Africa that are protecting their children and their people in a historic way in numbers that are hard to find anywhere else on the globe would be incredibly exciting. And Kenya is very much on board to make those commitments and move forward. So we've been really excited about that, and we'll be building out our launch team. And we've already started the work of analyzing the work on the ground there, and we're very very excited to have HGI Kenya as our next partner country.
Yeah, that's great. Well, good luck in Kenya, and thank you for your time and just thank you for the partnership. I mean, it's just going to be wonderful to see where we're headed together in Uganda and potentially other countries around the world. So
Well, we
have a
are
great
looking forward to
afternoon.
it. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it. We'll talk
Okay.
again soon. Appreciate it.
Okay. Goodbye.